morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
In the last few years, the Rapid City Police Department has seen an uptick in violent crime, specifically in one neighborhood on the north side of the city.
In tonight's Eye on KELOLAND, Lauren Solik will take a look at what's happening in the Knollwood and Surfwood Drive area. Here's a preview for that story.
The Knollwood and Surfwood Drive neighborhood of Rapid City is an area that spans just about 2 blocks on the north side of the city, but it's an area that sees a lot of crime. And recently, the Rapid City Police Department has put out a call to action, asking community members to take a stand against this crime.
Over the last 3 years, we've had 6 homicides occur at Sage Place, the apartment complex on Surfwood. And 6 homicides is unacceptable. That number itself is larger than the total population of homicides in Sioux Falls in 2021. We're not okay with that. It's not a safe place to be when you allow things like that to happen.
In tonight's Eye on KELOLAND, I take a look at the issues that have led to the crime in this area, how they came to be, and what police think will help fix the issues. In Rapid City, Lauren Solik, KELOLAND News.
Rapid City Police are asking for the public's help to find a burglary suspect. Just after midnight on Saturday, police were called to Grandview Elementary School after an employee saw signs of a break-in.
Surveillance video from the school's cameras show this man entering and causing damage to papers and an interior gate. The suspect is described as a slender male wearing black pants, a blue hoodie, and gloves. If you have any information, please contact the Rapid City Police Department. One woman is dead and another hurt following a crash northeast of Harrisburg. The South Dakota Department of Public Safety says it happened just before 7 o'clock Monday morning. Authorities say an SUV was northbound when it failed to stop at a stop sign and collided with a westbound car.
Both drivers were taken to a Sioux Falls hospital. The 60-year-old driver of the SUV died as a result of her injuries. The 52-year-old driver of the car suffered serious non-life-threatening injuries. South Dakota's Highway Patrol is investigating the crash.
Now let's send it over to meteorologist Scott Munn for a check of our weather, and we're starting with the snow today, Scott.
That we are. Already snowing in north central South Dakota this morning. That snow will continue to move east and to the southeast. Could pick up a quick ½ inch, maybe approach an inch in parts of southeastern South Dakota during the late morning hours. Temperatures will be colder than what we had yesterday, but we also have warm weather across western South Dakota, where rain showers are in our forecast today in and around Rapid City. But once the snow starts, we are looking at some pretty hefty amounts. A lot of this falling during the day tomorrow and tomorrow night. We are looking at a good average of 8 to 12, and that will cover central into eastern KELOLAND. The amounts will be a little heavier in eastern South Dakota and western Minnesota. Keep in mind the strong winds with the snow as well. Blizzard conditions likely across eastern South Dakota, where blizzard warnings do go in effect starting tomorrow in eastern KELOLAND. More details on your forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Several inches to a foot or more of snow is expected to fall in areas of KELOLAND this week.
That will have many of us getting in an outdoor workout, one that could take a big toll on your body. While shoveling snow comes with a variety of risks, paying attention to your heart may be the most important item.
The incidence of chest pain or angina or heart-related heart attack, a minor or a major heart attack, is definitely, we've seen an uptick in that. Even increased blood pressure. And a lot of times, this level of activity has unmasked a lot of symptoms that people had that they did not know in the summer. So they've just come to the doctor more just to get checked out.
He says it's also important to think about your heart health all the time by eating healthy, staying active, and doing your annual checkups. Next week, demolition is scheduled to begin on a multi-million-dollar home in Sioux Falls. For years, the mansion has sat unfinished and vacant, which led to complaints and fines. But the people who own the home says it's nearing completion.
They filed a lawsuit to stop the demolition. They say the exterior is done and the interior is ready for paint. They also claim certain city leaders have discriminated against them because they're immigrants. If you'd like to take a closer look at the claims, we've posted the lawsuit right here on KELOLAND.com. The House Committee on Appropriations is set to hear about House Bill 1075 today. The legislation would drop the sales tax on groceries to 0%. It's not the only tax-related bill the committee is set to hear about today.
Republican Representative Tyler Tortzen put up a public poll on Twitter asking people what they wanted to see happen. Democratic Senator Reynold Nessebar, who like Tortzen represents Minnehaha County in Pierre, offered a look ahead to 1075's fate.
It is interesting to kind of get a pulse on kind of where people are at, or what they're hearing, what they're interested in, what they're leaning towards.
I think the most likely thing is that the sales tax on food is going to be amended down from the full amount to something less. And to be clear, I support 1075 taking 4.5 cents off. We can afford this in South Dakota. We have the revenue.
Stay tuned for our coverage later today on House Bill 1075, both on air and right here on KELOLAND.com.
And that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, here are the advisories today. You can see on the maps, winter weather advisory, including Sioux Falls. We expect a hit of snow as that activity on radar is migrating east. We will get at least some of that, so a little coating on the streets and the sidewalks. So kind of be prepared for that to be this little first teaser band. Now, Aberdeen and Watertown can get some steadier snow today, this afternoon, even into tonight, so we'll be on board with that. We also think that tomorrow all of these main headlines really gear up. They'll start in Rapid City as early as 5 p.m. this evening. Winter area, 9 o'clock tonight, start time. Pierre, a little later. We go from the advisory to the winter storm warning. Sioux Falls will go to a blizzard warning as we watch the temperature fall, the winds increasing, all of those elements coming together. There's that first batch of snow we're tracking this morning. Notice you've got a little rain, too, here sneaking into southwestern KELOLAND. Don't forget temperatures in that area in the 40s one last time. Yep, the Arctic front's going to plunge in here into western South Dakota tonight, and the temperatures are going to fall quickly. Look at the hour by hour. Sioux Falls, I think we're probably in the low 20s by 3. At that point, most of your snow's north of Sioux Falls. We get into this little questionable zone, Chamberlain, Washington Springs, Pierre. There could be a little icy mix in there. That might even swing down into Sioux Falls late this evening as we kind of regroup. Look at your temperature falling in Rapid City. By 11 o'clock, we're down to 8 degrees. Wind is cranking up out of the northwest, 20 to 40. And look at those temperatures tomorrow morning. Very cold. So snow is going to be powdery. It's going to, anything that's blowing around with the wind is just going to really reduce our visibility. So I think Sioux Falls, while we may get a lull in the morning, it's pretty likely we're going to see the radar trend filling in pretty quickly during the afternoon, and thus the timing on the blizzard conditions through tomorrow night. And I would even swing that most of the day, at least the first half of Thursday looks to be pretty tough. Your wind forecast, initially, we've got some strong winds coming into the forecast today out of the southeast, probably some gusts around 30 or higher. You'll notice tonight the wind will pick up in Rapid out of the north. Sioux Falls will probably throttle back down a little bit as we try to swing the wind around to the northeast. And once we get that wind to settle in out of the northeast, then the show begins, and that's going to be snow and blowing snow. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to get enough to shut things down pretty quickly Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night. I would anticipate travel will become nearly impossible with heavy drifting snow and blowing snow. Wind gusts 40 to 50, Sioux Falls, starting even tomorrow morning, but more so through the afternoon. How much accumulation here? Well, let's get to that quickly here. This is our hour by hour accumulation map, and you can see today, yeah, the numbers, they perk up a little bit, don't they? 2 inches or more. Mobridge to Aberdeen could see a little more than that by early evening. Sioux Falls, maybe in the ballpark of an inch, a little bit more, a little less. I think, though, by the overnight, we start picking up a little more, and then tomorrow we'll be adding to that. And obviously the hourly numbers show bigger accumulations by drive time tomorrow evening. So my high recommendation is you stay up on these weather alerts, because by the time this is said and done, Sioux Falls, 8 to 14 inches of snow. Marshall, Minnesota, 12 to 18. And there will be numbers, yeah, well over a foot, even in through Watertown and up to Huron, even out west. It's not a lot less in Rapid City, up to 10 inches of snow. How about the extended forecast? Are we done? No. Maybe another storm next week. A lot of time to iron out the details on that, but it could be rain next week by Monday. That's a busy forecast, a lot more to dig into. You can find all of the details today online at KELOLAND.com.